Um, it's been all through word of mouth. We now have about 85 million users. There are more people learning a language on DuoLingo in the United States than in the whole U.S. public school system. It's all done through word of mouth. People just tell each other about it because it's so good. So we have not paid for advertisement, and I think part of it is also that it's totally free. I think that really matters. Before we started DuoLingo, all the ways there were to learn a language were very expensive. And we started DuoLingo in order to give free access to language education to everybody in the world. And I think that has a lot to do with our growth. Well, I think there are a lot of people in emerging markets that were not yet on the internet. And I think we're going to be seeing more and more business models that are made by emerging markets, also for emerging markets. It's difficult to innovate for emerging markets when you're not in an emerging market yourself. It's difficult to innovate for them. So I think a lot of the innovation is going to be coming from them. In my case, I was born in Guatemala, and I think at least my motivation for starting DuoLingo was Guatemala, because there are so many people there that want to learn English who don't have money to pay for it, and this is why I decided to start DuoLingo. But it happens to be the case that it's used by not only emerging markets but also by people with a lot of money. So we recently saw that Bill Gates actually uses DuoLingo to learn a language, and at the same time there are people who are students in public schools in third world countries like Costa Rica or Guatemala or Colombia. They're using DuoLingo to learn a language. And when some of the poorest people in the world and the richest men in the world are using the same exact method to learn a language, I think that's true equality, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that coming from emerging markets. Yeah, I think the pace of development is going to get faster. I think we're going to see, in the case of education, I think we're going to see a huge change on how people learn things. Most of learning used to happen entirely inside schools. We're now seeing cases like in DuoLingo where more people are learning on DuoLingo than the whole public school system in the United States. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more education happen outside of schools, and I think the role of schools is going to change. It's also the case that I think, in developed countries, schools can actually reach most students, whereas in developing countries, like Guatemala, for example, only about 60% of the students can actually be reached by the school system. So I think that telecommunications in general, mobile phones in particular, are going to allow us to reach everybody to try to educate them, and I think that should be the goal. This is an amazing event. It's full of amazing people. I mean, the Khan who invented TCP/IP is here, or the first mobile phone. I mean, this is amazing. It's an amazing group of people.